First example, we're going to look at x plus 5 under the square root minus 1 equals 3. The goal is to get the square root isolated, the radical isolated, before we can do anything else. I can't touch the 5, I cannot touch the x until I get rid of the negative 1. It's just like have a gift and you have an outer wrappings. You take care of the outer wrappings first, and then you go to the gift itself. So in this case, I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Add 1, and that should give me square root of x plus 5 equals 4. Now from here I have to get rid of the square root. The square root, if you guys remember, on the side here, I'm gonna just bring it back to your memory. The square root is a rational fraction, so a rational exponent, and the square root of x is the same as x to the 1/2 power. So just keep that in mind as you are looking at the problem. And I need to get rid of the square root. So to get rid of this half, you multiply by 2, or 2 over 1. Basically, you have to square the square root to get rid of it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to come here and then square this side and also square this side. When you square the square root, you get rid of the square root. So in this case, I'm going to end up with x plus 5 equals 16. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and that should give me x equals 11. Now I'm not 100% sure yet that this is the solution until I check it. So I'll go here and I will check my solution. Let's see, I'm going to put 11 plus 5 under the square root minus 1. I want to see if that is equal to, with a question mark here, 3. So 11 plus 5 is 16, square root of 16, minus 1, does that equal to 3? Got a question mark on top of my equal sign here, because I'm checking. 4 minus 1, does that equal to 3? And obviously the answer is yes, 3 equals 3, and we're good. That means your solution here works, and in this case I'm going to box that in and claim it as my solution. Alright, that's how you solve this radical problem or equation. Next one, we're going to look at solving a cubic root. So let's solve a cubic root of x minus 1 equals 2. This is a cubic root. The index is 3. That's a cubic root. And the radicand, which means the item under the radical, is x minus 1, and it's equal to 2. Again, by the same token, if you guys remember, the square root is 1/2. The cubic root is actually a number raised to the 1/3. So I'm going to put my work here and say this is a cubic root of x, which is similar to or the same as x to the 1/3. It's a third root, so it's 1/3. And you get rid of the 1/3 again by multiplying what? By multiplying it by 3, right? 3. Because 3 is going to cancel that 3 at the bottom here. There's a 3 at the bottom here. So that's exactly what I need to do here. I'm going to need to come here and then cube the cubic root which is going to get rid of the cube root, and then cube both sides. So that's going to give me x minus 1 equals 8. And then I got, in this case, add 1 to both sides, which will give me x equals 9. That's what I think is a solution. So if you're like me, I wouldn't just box this in yet until I check. So I need to check and see if that would work, because sometimes it doesn't work. I know you think it's the one for you, but that's not the one for you. I know how that goes. 2. So cubic root of 9 minus 1, that's a cubic root. Does that equal to 2? It's a question mark here. To 2. Well, 9 minus 1 is 8. Cubic root of 8 is 2 equals 2. Yep, that works as well. So here I come confidently claiming this to be my solution. Alright, that's this problem with the cubic root. So let's do another one, and this one's going to be, we are going to solve radical, and this one is going to have some quadratics in it. Ooh, really? Oh yeah. Just watch. Just watch. So this one says solve, just like the other ones. This is example number 3, by the way. Solve, I've got the square root of 3x minus 2 under the square root, be careful that you're including the negative 2 here, equals x minus 4. Okay, so first impression, looks like I have to square both sides. So I'm going to square both sides by having a square root like this, square root of x minus 2 squared equals x minus 4 squared. And if you're like me, we like to use shortcuts in math, so there is a shortcut for this guy here on the right side. And the shortcut goes like this: a minus b quantity squared will be the first term, which is a squared minus, I'm using this sign here, and 2 times a times b plus the second item or term being squared. That's the shortcut I'm going to use here. If you don't want to use a shortcut, that's fine. You could FOIL, distribute, or use the box, whichever suits your appetite. So I've got 3x minus 2, since the square canceled the square root, making this power of 1. And that's going to give me, again, I'm going to use a shortcut here. So I'm going to use the first term squared, x squared, minus, using this sign here, 2 times the first times second. 2 times first is 2 times x minus 4 is 8x, and then plus 16. All right, looks like I'm looking at the quadratic equation here, since power is 2, right? So I just need to do some housekeeping here. So make everything on the right equals 0 on the left. So I'm going to, in this case, subtract 3x from both sides. I'm also going to add a 2 to both sides in one step. If you're not used to do both of them in one step, then just do them separate. This is going to go bye-bye. This is going to go bye-bye, leaving me with 0 equals x squared. That's going to be a negative 11. Negative 8 minus 3 is negative 11x. And 16 plus 2 is 18. Now this calls in for basically factoring a quadratic equation to come up with the solution. And I do that by using a method we taught. It's called a diamond. And the diamond goes like this. You have a kind of a big X. Why don't you call it big X Armani? Well, because do not want to confuse it with the other X's, I guess. There's a lot of X's in algebra, so just call it diamond. You need to know the ABC to do this method, and A and B and C are the coefficients. A and B are the coefficients, and C is the constant here that you see, that you look at. So in this case, A is going to be equal to 1. That's whatever next to the x squared. B is whatever is next to the x. That's negative 11. And C is going to be the 18. Need more room here. C is going to be the 18. At the top of the diamond goes the AC, just like the air conditioning at the top. A times C. That's, let me put that here for you. A times C at the top, and B, the bottom, basement, is always at the basement here. You always look for two numbers multiply, give you the top, and because you have A times C at the top, you're multiplying. And two numbers add give you the bottom number here. So let's take a look. 1 times 18 is 18 here. And the bottom is negative 11. So two numbers I'm thinking to multiply gives me 18. Same numbers add give me negative 11. So you try a bunch of numbers like 3 times 6, and you try 2 times 9, and do probably 2 times 9. Let's do 2 times 9 here. If I do 2 times 9, that's going to be 18. It's going to work for the top, but not the bottom. So I have to play with the sign a little bit. So what if this is negative? Okay, that's going to not give you the top or the bottom. So maybe this also is negative. Okay, so negative times negative is positive. That's positive 18, and I get a happy face for that guy. Here, happy face. And then negative 9 minus 2 is negative 11. That's another happy face. Now you gotta ask a question, does A equal to 1? A equals 1 in this case. That means you are ready to do these or take them as your factors. These are not solutions, these are factors. If A is not 1, then you just divide by the A, and then you circle. Anyway, so now I have at my disposal here the factors that we need to do in order for us to finish the problem, which basically we have a factor of x minus 9 and then x minus 2. Doesn't matter whether you put the 0 to the left or to the right, we know that both of them are equal to 0. Now we keep going, and then there's a zero product property here that comes to help. And zero product property states that if you have two things multiply with three things, or whatever the number is, and you equal to 0, then either one of them would be equal to 0, either this or that. So I'm going to say or, take the first one, which is x minus 9 equals 0, and then or x minus 2 equals 0. Well, if x minus 9 equals 0, I just have to add 9 to both sides. X equals 9, and this one is x equals 2. Okay, looks like I'm happy and jolly, and but you've got to check them again. You can't just take it at face value. You gotta check your answer. So I'm gonna go back here on my work area here on the right. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check to see if the 9 works. Okay, so check the 9. Check 9. Let me see what was the problem. Well, the initial problem, and I highly recommend that you check it in the original problem, right? I mean, you could check it here, but I would check it in the original problem. 3 times 9 is 27, minus 2 is 25. So on this side, I have basically square root of 25 with the question mark on top of the equal sign. And we're saying, does this equal to what? X minus 4, which is 9 minus 4. We're saying if this is equal to 9 minus 4. Okay, is that right? What's 9 minus 4? 9 minus 4? What is that? Oh, okay, 5 equals 5. And we're good here. So that solution works. What about the other solution? X equals 2. Well, that's what you're going to have to do again. I know. That's okay. It's worth it. Check the 2 if it works. And you check the 2 by basically plugging the 2 into the equation. Again, the original equation would help. I would recommend that. So I'm going to go back to the original equation here, which is, again, square root of 3 times 2, which is 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4 is how much? What is 6 minus 4? 6 minus 4 would be 2. 3 times 2 is 6. I'm sorry. My apology. 3 times 2 is 6 minus 2 will give me 4. So on this left side, I'm going to have square root of 4 with the equal sign. And I'm going to go up here and say, well, again, that was what? X minus 4. So let's check x minus 4. Okay, go back here, x minus 4, which is, in my case, is 2 minus 4. Okay, let's keep going here. Square 4 is 2, and this guy is all of a sudden turned south on me, and he said, no, I just want to be negative 2. Well, if that's what you want to do, then guess what? You are not equal to me, and I can't take you as a solution. Hence, this is the only solution here. X equals 9 is the only solution in this problem, while x equals 2 is rejected because it's not a solution. So I have to go back here and say, I'm sorry, this is not a solution. Not a solution. Only x equals 9 is the solution in this case. So that's why it's very important that you check your answers. Don't just take the answers and fly with that. You've got to go back and do your due diligence and check it. A lot of things in life that don't turn the way that we want it. We're thankful that God has given us the opportunity to live and be productive in this society, but sometimes things do not work. We just have to accept that. All right, next one. Next one will be this unique looking thing here, which is again solve. And this one goes like this: x squared plus 5x plus 5, interesting, a lot of 5s here, raised to the 5 over 2 power, 5 halves of the power. And this is equal to 1. Wow, that looks awkward. Well, just the case. So think with me a little bit here. If you want to get rid of a fraction, meaning if you want to simplify a fraction and make it a 1, so let's say I have a fraction that goes like this. Let's say I have 2/3. How do you make this one? You multiply it by its reciprocal. So that's a 3 over 2. And in this case, you just have to come here and then do your fruit ninja and chop, 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 gotcha, chop, gotcha, gotcha. And that's going to give you the 1, right? That's what we're going to have to do here. You're going to multiply the exponent by its reciprocal. So that's the plan for that. And remember, it's both sides of the equal sign. X squared plus 5x plus 5 raised to the 5 halves. That has to be multiplied by 2 over 5. Well, Armani, how about the other side? Well, yes, the other side has to take that as well. 1. Lucky we have 1 here, but it's also going to be 2 over 5. Lucky we have 1 because 1 raised to any power is going to be 1. That's a good point here. It's going to save us some time. So anyways, you come here and then you're jolly, you're happy, and then you're just chopping off things. The 5 is going to go with the 5, and the 2 with the 2, which is going to give you an exponent of 1. Okay, good. That's what we want. So basically you've got x squared, let me make this a little bit thicker, x squared plus 5x plus 5, and then we're going to say this is equal to 1 raised to 2/5. Well, again, 1 raised to any power is going to be just itself, 1. Now we're going to subtract the 1 from both sides. Subtract the 1 from both sides. And that should lead us to x squared plus 5x plus 4 equal what? 0. 0? Yes, equals 0. And then we have to do some work with quadratic again. Where? I could do that. I know how to do quadratic Armani. We just did that. Sure. So again, at the top of this, we'll go A times C, and I'm not going to go through it again. Okay, remember A is 1, B is, I'm just going to maybe put them here just for you. A is 1, and B is the 5, and C is going to be the 4. At the top of the diamond goes A times C, just like the air conditioning at the top. So that's 4. And at the bottom goes the B, which is 5. Two numbers multiply give you 4, and add give you 5. Well, there's not too much choices here. You either could use 1 and 4, or 2 and what? 2 and 2? That's not going to work. So 1 and 4, or 4 and 1. I multiply these, I get 4. Here's a happy face for that. And I add them, I get the bottom. Here is a happy face for that. Also, since A equals 1, right? There's a 1 here. That means I'm ready to circle these as my factors. These are not solutions again. These are just the factors. And I'm going to put them here. X plus 4 and then x plus 1 equals 0. And let's keep going here. Again, we're invoking the zero product property, which states either of these parentheses would equal to 0. So I'm going to say x plus 4 equals 0, or the other option here is x plus 1 equals 0. Well, you just subtract and solve this simple linear equation. It's going to give you negative 4. That's one option. And x equals negative 1 is another option. By now, you should know what's my next step. Should I just leave this and circle in the answer, claiming it to be my solution, or should I do something else? Yeah, you got it. You have to do something else. And that something else is checking to see if it works or not. Check it. So I'm going to check x equals negative 4. So I'm going to look here just at the top here and see if that's going to make sense. X equals negative 4. Okay, here's negative 4 squared. Well, that's 16. And then I've got 4 times negative 5. That's negative 20. So I've got 16 minus 20. Hello. Plus 5. And I'm asking, does this equal to 1? I am not sure, Armani. I'm just going to check. Okay, let's check it out. So 16, 16 and then negative 20, that's a negative 4. Looks like a negative 4 here, plus 5. Does that equal to 1? Well, negative 4 plus 5, that's what? That's a 1, isn't it? 1 equals 1. So we're good with this guy here. Big happy face for negative 4. Now I've got to check the negative 1. Why don't you just take it the way it is, Armani? Well, last problem, it didn't work. So make sure that you check. Check the answer. I know it's extra step, but it's okay. Check it. Okay, going back here to the negative 1. Let me go back to the original problem here and then plug in negative 1. Maybe this one I could do this mentally here. So negative 1 squared is 1 times negative 5 plus 5. So basically I have 1 and then I have a negative 5 plus 5, which means what? 1, right? So I've got 1, negative 5 plus 5. Does that equal to 1? Alright, let's see. Well, these two are going to go bye-bye. Look. Bye-bye, bye-bye. 5 and 5 left. Left me with just a 1. Oh yeah, that's a big happy face as well. Guess what? Both of them works. Both of them work. And that's why we come here and then confidently claim these are our solutions, and both are working. Both are working. We are happy with them. And we're going to keep these solutions. Right? X equals negative 4 is a solution, and x equals negative 1 is also a solution. Both of them should work for me. Okay. I'm gonna close with this example here. And this example would be the following. This example would be like this. I got a 2, solve. I've got a 2 square root of x plus 3, and then minus x equals 0. Okay, how do you solve that, Armani? Well, as we always do, you have to separate things, right? Can I just combine this negative x with this x and just get rid of them? The answer is no. Don't you ever do that. Why? Well, because this amount is under the square root. This is a radicand. This is not the same as this guy. You can't just combine them. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So basically, again, I have to get rid of whatever is the outer layer until I get to my gift. My gift is here, but then you might ask, what about this gift as well? I know what you're saying, but you have to go start somewhere, and this somewhere for me right now will be adding the x to both sides. So I'm going to add x to both sides, and that should give me this radical here, which is 2x plus 3 equals x. All right. Now I think to myself here, well, I really need to get rid of the square root. Yeah, you're right. But before you do that, excuse me, I'm gonna sip water here. Before you do that, you have to divide by 2. So let's divide by 2. And in this case, I'm going to end up with just like these two will cancel, obviously. The 2's are going to cancel. That's going to leave me with x squared plus 3 equals this amount here on the right side. Now I have to ask myself a question, how to get rid of the square root. Well, we have been doing this all along, Armani. To get rid of the square root, you just square it. Okay, or raise it to the second power. Again, second power both sides. Right? That's going to be a little bit fun here. So it's going to be x plus 3 equals, this 2 belongs to the top and also belongs to the bottom. Don't forget that when you do the exponent. If you're not sure how to do this exponent distribution here, so watch my videos on exponents. That should help you a little bit. X squared divided by 4. Okay, looks like I'm doing fine here with one exception. I wish I couldn't have a fraction here, so I could just deal with this and add and subtract. Well, you could get rid of the 4. So how do you get rid of the 4? Well, the 1/4. You multiply it by its reciprocal, which is the 4. But you got to do that to both sides of the equal sign, or 4/1, right? So now I'm going to end up with 4 times this amount here, and then 4 times this amount here, which is going to be the 1/4, right? So 4 times this fraction. So if I were to do this on the right here, so it's 4 times the 1/4, or 4/1 if you like. 4/1 times the 1/4. That's the thought here, because I want to cancel stuff. And I've got 4 times x, that's 4 x's. 4 times 3, that's plus 12, equals, and in this case I'm going to end up with x squared by itself. Being the neat guy I am, I'm going to just subtract the 4 x's and the 12 from both sides at the same time. Negative 4x, negative 12. Negative 4x, negative 12. You could do it on 2 separate steps, by the way, but it's okay. This is going to go away, bye-bye, and bye-bye, leaving you with a 0. 0, yes, 0, equals x squared minus 4x minus 12. How do you solve that? Well, that looks like quadratic, and I know how to solve quadratic. I just use a diamond. Okay, let's use a diamond. Use a diamond by having, again, a big X like that. And to use a diamond, you have to know your ABC, right? So ABC, A is 1, B is -4, and C is -12. Both these are coefficients, and then this is a constant here. So A times C, once again, is going to be -12, and the bottom is -4. And all what I have to do now is try to come up with two numbers, multiply, give you the top, same numbers, give you the bottom. And let's try 6 and 2. You could try 3 and 4. It's not going to work, but you could try. There's nothing wrong with trying these. And I really have to play with signs here. So I need this to be negative, since negative times positive is negative. That's going to work for the top. And negative and -6 plus 2, that's going to give you -4. So that's going to work for the bottom too. Since A is 1, I'm ready to circle these and claim them as my factors. Okay, not solutions. These are just factors. So basically I have x minus 6 and then x plus 2 equals 0. That's what I've got here. Remember the zero product property? Either one of these would be 0. So I'm going to say this is x minus 6 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. X is going to be 6. X is going to be -2. Am I ready? Well, no. I can't just say these are the answers without me checking the answers. Oh, we already established that, okay? So I have to go back here and check every single one of them. Hopefully it's going to be a quick one. Well, let's check the 6. I'm going to check the 6. All right, let's see. Where should I put the 6? Where should I plug the 6? Well, look at the problem, Armani. I'm going to plug the 6 for x. So 6 plus 3 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3, right? 2 times 3 is 6. Minus 6. Oh, wow. How'd you do that? I just plugged it in. So 6 minus 6 is going to give you 0. 0 equals 0. That's good. Which means this one works. What about -2? I'll check -2. Let me go back here and check -2. Let me do this mentally. Obviously, you need to write it down. I'm just doing it mentally here. So -2. Okay, so -2 plus 3. Well, that's a 1. Square root of 1 is 1 times 2. That's 2. Minus, remember, 2 minus what? Minus 2. So 2 minus 2. Well, I've got 2 minus 2. Well, that's going to give me a problem here. Because if I put, in my example here, if I put, I should check all the way up here. If I put -2, so -2 plus 3, think with me a little bit here. -2 plus 3 is going to be 1. Square root of 1 is 1 times 2 is 2. 2 minus, but there's a negative here. It's basically saying 2 minus -2. I'll just give myself more room here. 2 minus -2. Is that equal to 0? Well, let's take a look. 2 minus negative, that's +2. Well, this means that's not true. This is 4 equals 0. Well, 4 does not equal to 0. That's not equal to 0. That's why I have to reject this solution. So we have to reject this solution here and only accept the x plus x equals 6. X equals 6 is my only solution in this problem. Okay, so take a look back here at the problem and you'll find out that the x equals -2 does not work. Okay, guys. All right, this should conclude our lesson today on solving quadratic equations. I'm sorry, solving radical equations. Solving radical equations and the fun time that we spend looking at that. I wish you good luck in your endeavors and be blessed wherever you at. All right, how to solve radical equations.